And we've got people over here at YouTube coming in. I got to remember to speak up and bring you close here. All right. Guess where Pastor Paul is right now? He's taping Mike from around the world for the Alien Conference.
Oh, I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. Well, you can hear it if you get your tickets. So that's where he's at right now. He's taping with him. So I can't wait to hear what all they're going to talk about tonight when he gets back. So yeah. Oh, there's Melissa. So hopefully, I've sent out the link. Hopefully it works better than the link that we sent out the last time. I put it in PowerPoint this time, so hopefully that will work better for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you still have time to get your Aliens, AI, and the Antichrist tickets. So, like I said, that's where Pastor Paul is tonight. Right now, he's taping with Mike from around the world. So, we have Johnny over here at YouTube, and I see Michelle and Mrs. Shank is there, or Mr. Shank. Mr. Shank, all right. So, I'll give you guys a couple more minutes to get here into the room. If you want to get into the Zoom room where you'll be able to see the slides, Melissa will send you the link if she's not too busy with the little one there.
Yeah.
She's got her hands full.
I always want to watch.
She's getting pretty big anymore.
Yeah, hi, Heidi.
Hi, sweetheart. How are you? Hi. Yeah, she's getting big.
18 months now.
18 months. We got to see our little one last night. We got to FaceTime with her. Oh, little Maddie Ray, all the way in Japan, Okinawa. So pray for them because they've got that outbreak going on with the Marine bases there. Two Marine bases are being hit with the COVID-19 over there now. So in Okinawa, so they need some prayer. Thank goodness my daughter-in-law is home right now with the baby, so she doesn't have to be in the midst of that, or she definitely would be. So thank you, Melissa. You just put the link over there for the Zoom. All right. Somehow us mothers figure out how to be octopuses somehow. So yes. All right. All right, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to start sharing the screen here.
You can't touch that. You know why I'm laughing? You know why I'm laughing?
Why is that?
I don't know.
There we go.
I know the cat. That you found out about the whole part. Yeah. I can't touch it. Make sure I'm moving here.
How do I get rid of this thing now? I didn't lose you all, did I?
No.
No? But can you see the PowerPoint?
No.
Oh, you can't see the PowerPoint. Sure. Okay, maybe I need to upload the files into that. Let me go find that again. I see you.
The granddaughter. So cute.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Now can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I don't want to listen to that kid.
Well, we're going to figure out how to mute everybody here.
Oh, they'll quiet it down in a bit.
Find that button.
Joking.
that's different. Okay, I can't find my buttons. Oh, there they are. Okay, let's see. Okay. Oops. I've got everybody muted. I want to go back to this slide, but for some reason I have this slide. And I can't get rid of this. Okay. All right. Can y'all hear me okay? All right, great. All right, now let me just see if I can see. There we go, where we're at. Okay, so, not quite sure where we left off. Let's see. I know we didn't do Samak. We did talk about Lamed. I remember talking about Lamed. So let's go on to Mem, because I think we left off with Lamed. All right, so let's talk about Mem then. So Mem is a really cool letter. I love the letter Mem. Let me answer a couple questions though that you guys had first. Mazarite. Remember we talked about Mazarite and that there was no vowels to begin with. Remember we talked about the fact that there were no vowels and that there was just the letters here. And vowels are little dots that they put in between the letters. And that will tell you, like, if there's two dots here, we call them a sere, and that's like our E. Or if it's a line, it's a patach, and that's an A. So that's like a short A for us. Those didn't exist at first. It was just like this, no lines, no dots. And so it was in the 6th to the 10th century CE. So that the Mazarites got together and they decided, because like I said, you would look at this and you would say, okay, is that mom or is that ma'am? Okay, so would I say it with an O or would I say it with an A? And it was just inconsistent so they didn't have internet, they didn't have phones, they didn't, so one town would be pronouncing it as mom, and the next town you would go to that synagogue and they would be pronouncing it as ma'am, so it was inconsistent. And so finally, and it might be mem, it might be mem somewhere else, right? So the rabbis would be trying to clarify this constantly between each other, because mem might mean something and mom might mean something else. And if it was, it would make the whole verse, put a different light on the whole verse. And the rabbis were constantly having to clarify between each other. So finally, the Mazarites got together and they said, we need to make this consistent and standardized. And so that's what they did. And so they had a council, and they did this over the 6th to the 10th century. So they took a long time, and they put this all together, and they standardized this, and they came up with a vowel system to do this. And it's little dots, dageshes, little, like I said, it might be a little line, which is a patak. A line with another little line is like a long A. So there's long A's, there's long E's, there's I's, there's O's, there's different things like that. But that didn't exist. The original text did not have that. That was added later by the Mazarites. That happened in the 6th to the 10th centuries, and mostly in Tiberias, but it was between Tiberias and Jerusalem. Now, those of you that have been on our tour to Israel, you'll know where Tiberias is. It's about it's definitely more than an hour drive. It's about 2-hour drive, I suppose it is. And it's over by the Sea of Galilee. It's very beautiful in Tiberias. It is on the Sea of Galilee, or Galilee. They call it the Sea of Gennesaret, but we call it the Sea of Galilee. It's a very beautiful city. it's not a big city. It's a town. But that's where this took place. Now, it came about through the family of Ben Asher. You remember I told you the word Ben means son, right? The sons of Asher. So the sons of Asher, that was their job, was to get this translated in the best way that they knew how. But there were also the sons of Naphtali who were also working on this translation. So in the end, the Maimonides finally put their stamp of approval on Ben Asher's translation. But there are translations by Ben Naphtali, the sons of Naphtali as well. All right, so they did the standardized pronunciation, but they also standardized paragraphs, verses, and divisions. Because if you remember, when I was talking to you about the Bible code, it was all just like all ran together. There were no paragraphs, even no periods for like the end of the sentence. There was no pronunciation at all, or not pronunciation, what am I trying to say? Punctuation. There was no punctuation at all. So they had to go through and do all of that. They did where the paragraphs stop, where the verses stop. They did all the numbering. None of that was in there. That they did all of that. So that's where all of that took place. All right. They also did something called cantillation. So what that is the Jews actually sing the verses. And so you know how you would look at if you went to sing something and you would see that you go up and down, you know, with the notes, the up and down, or rest, you carry something out. Those punctuation marks are actually in there as well. If you were to go into a synagogue and you were to see their Torah scrolls, those punctuation marks are called cantillation marks, are in there as well. And they tell you when to go up and when to go down and when to hold the note. They sing out the verse. And I just have done just a little bit of that with my teachers, and it's very, very interesting. And then it's really interesting. I'm getting ready to, in some of my higher classes that I'm getting ready to take, work more with that. So it's very, very interesting. So that's a whole nother system of dots and dashes and all of that kind of stuff as well. They placed all of those dots and dashes as well. So that's what they were doing. So I know somebody had asked me specifically when that took place. So that's when that took place, all right? So another question is going to come up here later with the letter Samak that I've actually sent out to a rabbi who actually sent it to another rabbi in Israel. So I don't have that answer yet, but hopefully by next time we'll have that answer, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and let's get started with Mem. So Mem is the 13th letter of the alphabet, okay? The Mem is created with a Vav and a Kaf, okay? So that's how they put those letters together. If you remember also the gematria, the number 6 with the sacred name of God, 26. I'm sorry, not 6, 26. So gematria number of 26 with the sacred name of God. Remember that. The numerical value of Mem is 40. So Mem is depicted by waves of water, but it's interesting, and you'll find this a lot in Jewish culture. There's always on one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. It does this a lot. So this is showing you this in the water as well, including a wellspring of water springing up like wisdom all the way to the ocean where it can be just as strong and chaotic. So you know how water can just be, well, like if you've seen, have you ever seen natural springs of water? I mean, we have natural springs of water. My grandmother had a pond on her land, and it always had its own natural springs. It was the DNR always came there because they said it was one of the best natural springs of water around, and it just had the little natural springs of water, and they just bubbled up, and it was just peaceful and sweet and beautiful natural springs of water. So you can have something that peaceful and that just springs up with natural springs, calming and clear and beautiful, all the way to an ocean that can kick up a storm that could take you under. And think about poor Jonah. I mean, it took him all the way under, and he could have killed him, except that God delivered him from the belly of the whale, right? I mean, so water can take you from calm and peaceful to chaotic, and you don't know if you're going to make it or not. So it has a dichotomy like that. And that's where mem is. Mem is, it's got the two letters like that. Mem, this mem here on the right side is what you use everywhere in a letter except for the end. It's called a mem sophite. At the end of a letter, you use the mem sophite. Remember, we talked about at the end, sometimes a letter is specifically used for the end of a word. Well, mem is like that, and it's called a mem sophite. So there you go. All right, so we have several 40s in the Bible, right? So you have a 40 days and nights in the flood, right? 40 days in the wilderness, 40 days Moses on Mount Sinai, 40 days Jesus fasted, 40 days of gestation. Think about all of that. You got a lot of 40s when you're talking about a mem, right? So that's your mem for you. All right, so let's go to the, let's go to the noon. The noon is the next one. So the noon is the 14th letter of the alphabet, right? So the noon is another one of those dichotomy letters, all right? It'll take you back and forth. So the noon is very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Joshua was the son of Nun. Remember Joshua in the Bible? All right, it's depicted by a sprouting seed or an heir. All right, so I don't have the picture here with me, but in your workbook that I've been working on, it actually looks like it could look like a sperm, actually, like a sprouting seed or heir. It has two different looking letters with a noon. Again, you have a nun sophite. The nun sophite is one of the letters. I think the cuff does it too, but the nun sophite actually goes below the line. So you see how it goes below the line? The nun sophite goes below the line. So there's your regular nun, and there's your nun sophite that goes below the line. I have sugar here, of course, making noise. So it would go at the end of the word, and it would go below the line. It looks very similar to the Vav, right? Remember the Vav, how it looks just like that, but it goes below the line. It stands, the numerical value of the nun is, or noon, makes you want to say none, right? But it's noon, it's pronounced noon, is 50. And what do we know what 50 is? The Jubilee year. But check this out. Noon is a seed war. Noon is very much a seed war. The Egyptian hieroglyphic, which is one of the oldest forms, was a snake. So you see how that evolved from a snake to a sprouting seed. And the Arabic noon was used by ISIS. Do you remember this? Was used by ISIS to mark the Christians as Nazarenes. Remember that? For persecution. And what is one of the words that starts with noon? Nachash, or snake. And you see that in Genesis story, where the Nachash came up to, the serpent came up to Eve. And what was that story all about? The seed war. This is very much a seed war letter. Noon. It's very much a seed war letter. It's all involved with the snake that evolves into the seed. Think about that. That's the snake in Egypt, of all places, the letter itself was a snake that evolved into a seed, a sprouting seed. Check that out. And they use it as a serpent, Nachash, in the very story of the seed war, where the serpent comes up to Eve and entices her to eat from the tree. I mean, it is just all over it, right? There's your seed war right there with the noon. Amazing. It's amazing. Once you know, you would not know that unless you knew Hebrew. Now you know the rest of that story. Once you know the Hebrew part of that story, you see this all over. Isn't that amazing? Now you know the rest of the story. All right. Let's go see what the next letter is. All right, so we go from there to Samak. All right, so here's another amazing letter. So now we go to Samak. Samak means to lean upon or to hold up. And the Paleo-Hebrew looks very different than this. It looks like a line with lines like this. And it means to lean upon or to hold up. You see this looks like a ring almost, right? A circular ring. And Samak, and that's got that, remember, that's the het, remember? The CH at the end. So it does sound like Samak. So it's got the guttural at the end. It's the 15th letter of the alphabet, and it has the numerical value of 60. Now Samak, in a circle, holds the mystery of where is the beginning and where is the end, right? Where is the beginning and where is the end? So check this out, and I'm gonna do what we talked about the zooming in and out to try to blow up this Arionic blessing here for you. So let me see if I can blow it up a little bit more, and we're gonna take a good look at the Arionic blessing here. Let's see. I want you to see the whole Arionic blessing. How can I move that over? Can't. Okay. So Samak, you see, okay, so remember the Samak looks like this. See at the end of each one of these, the Arionic blessing here, which is numbers 6, 24, 25, and 26. These are the verses, 24, 25, and 26. Number 6, 24, 25, and 26. The Lord bless thee and keep thee, okay? So here's the sacred name of God, the Lord, all right? And this is the word for bless, barach, and this is you. So the kaf at the end, which we're going to get on the kaf in a minute, is you. When you put a kaf at the end, it means you. And this is shamar, and a vav at the beginning was and. Remember? Do you remember when we said when you put a vav at the beginning, it's and? And here it is, you again, kaf, at the end. So shamar means guard or keep. So there you go. So it's barach is bless, the Lord, and keep you, right? Bless you. The Lord is blessing you, and keeping you. Okay, so the Lord bless you and keep you. But check this out. There's a samak at the end of the verse for punctuation on each one of these. On each one of these. And what is the numerical value? The numerical value is 60. If you count up the letters, and I did, because I wanted to make sure, you count up the individual letters, not counting the samaks, because those are punctuation marks. But if you count up the individual letters in the Arionic blessing, there's 60 letters, individual letters. And then if you count up the words, there's 15 words. Well, 15 times 4 is what? 60. So it's just a mystery. They said there's a mystery here behind Samak and the Arionic blessing. So I asked Rabbi Leora, so some of you know that we've been to Rabbi Leora's Passovers. that she holds, several years in a row. If she could tell me why, and she is actually looking up why we have these Samaks at the end of this. So the Lord make his face to be upon thee and be gracious unto thee. All right, so here you have this, and we're going to learn this in a minute. This is a pay and a noon. That is your face. When you have this together, face upon thee and be gracious. Ken, that's gracious. That's kind. That's the word for kind. And the coughs at the end mean you again. And of course, this is a sacred name for God. So the Lord, all right, shine upon thee. And then, and lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. Remember, shalom, give thee peace. Here's the word, the Lord again. And give this countenance upon thee. There's the face again, right? So that can mean look upon thee, right? And that means to you. Lamed can mean to. Kaf means you. See, you're learning this. All right? And so, upon thee. All means upon you. See? So, but the thing is here with the Samak is, why is the Samak at the end of each one of these? Now, where did I get this? I got this straight out of what's called the Arionic Codex. Again, where's the Arionic Codex? So let's go back to the Masoretes. So when the Masoretes did this, they actually made what's called the Aleppo Codex, and then the Arionic Codex was made not long after that. So the Aleppo Codex was the oldest. Aleppo, you've heard of Aleppo in the news, the war-torn city of Aleppo in Syria, and that's one of the Bibles that it's Tanakh, because it's only the Old Testament, of course, right? Not the New Testament. So that the Masoretes had actually made. So this text that you're looking at, I copied right out of the Arionic Codex, which is also one of the oldest texts that is known. I think it's the oldest intact text, because the Aleppo Codex was, and then one of the the synagogue burned, and then now it's no longer intact. Now they recovered, I forget how much, like about 40% or 50% of it, but they still have never recovered it all, unfortunately. And some of it, if you guys have been with us in Israel, some of the pages are in the Museum of the Book of the Aleppo texts. So there you go. So if you over here are in the YouTube, Melissa can give you a link to get into Zoom. So if you're wanting to see the text that I'm talking about. So if Melissa could throw that link back over here, they're saying, can we use telepathy to see it? So maybe if Melissa can give them that link again, so they can get a look at it. So there you go. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Melissa. I'll leave it up here for a minute so you guys can take a look at it. The really cool thing about me taking the Hebrew classes at Hebrew University was the fact I couldn't believe it when I first it was like my first class. I was there, and somebody had asked a question, and my teacher immediately had access to the Dead Sea Scrolls, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I'm looking at a Dead Sea Scroll. It was just amazing. I mean, they are just the most amazing group of teachers that I have ever worked with. And they have the access to the Dead Sea Scrolls. Literally, they can pull them up, and you can study and see what they've been studying. So it's just really, really cool. Everything that they have access to, and they're just amazing. They're just totally amazing. All right, no problem, no problem. You can catch up, Debs, no problem. All right, so there you have what we've been looking at here. We've been studying on Samak in the Lenin Codex here. Okay, let me see what slide we need to go to next. Oh. Okay. Hang on one second, I'm sorry. Okay, ayin. Ayin is a really cool, all the Hebrew letters are cool, but okay, I'm gonna have to take my view back down. Oops. No, I took the view the wrong way. Okay. Give me a minute to get my view back. Sorry. I think that's about right? Okay, ayin. Ayin's really cool because ayin means I. All right? And so the I itself is an amazing structure, right? So ayin means I. Ayin is the 16th letter of the alphabet. I think I've got it too small now, right? So we'll give it one more. Okay. Ayin is the 16th letter of the alphabet, right? Let me move it over a minute so you guys can see that a little better. And it is silent. So it's like the very first letter was the Aleph, right? But it's silent. So even though you see it, it's silent. So, but you have to give it a place. It's like a place marker. So it's silent. It's depicted by the eye, and ayin is literally I. That's what it means when you say it. Ayin is I. It is said to have two eyes connected by the optic nerve. So let me try to show you this, what they're meaning. This is an eye, and this is an eye. And this is the optic nerve. That's literally what they're trying to say. This is an eye, this is an eye, this is an optic nerve. Again, in keeping with the Hebrew thinking, they're always worried that there's a dichotomy of things going on. So they want you to be careful with your eye gates, that you always be careful that you are always looking at good things, that you have the good eye and not the evil eye, all right? So be careful that you are always protecting your eye gates, that you don't want to allow in things of an evil eye, all right? So that's another thing that they want you to always keep in mind, right? The eyes are said to be the light of the soul and can be the analogy of wisdom. That being said, you'll be careful to treat your eyes with care as precious gates, not allowing the evil, because they can become the gateway of darkness for your soul. Very true. I mean, think about when I used to teach Sunday school, that little song that we sang to the kids. It was, be careful little eyes what you see, right? Be careful little ears what you hear, and be careful little tongue what you say. I mean, it's just as simple as that. Be careful little feet where you go. It's really true. I think I wish that, we would just carry that through adulthood, some of those little simple things that we teach us in Sunday school. So Matthew 6, Jesus comes right back to this. Matthew 6, 22 and 23. The light of the body is the eye. The light of the body is the eye. Jesus teaches us this. I pondered on this scripture a lot. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? The numerical value is 70. 70 members of the Sanhedrin, 70 faces of the Torah. That's a very interesting thing. The 70 faces of the Torah is a thought of the Jewish belief. It's an interesting thing to look up. 70 names of God, as you know about all the Jewish knots at the bottom. I think those are 72 actually, in the knots at the end of the prayer shawl. 70 birth pangs till the coming Messiah is one thought, and one Jewish thought as well. And I thought that would be interesting to look up too. Now, so here you go. Seeing, the verb for seeing is ra. So there you go with your aleph. Remember we talked about that being the silent. It's just ra. That's all it is, ra. That's the verb for seeing. But here you go. There's your ayin. There's your evil eye. So you have to be careful with this. Ra with a aleph is the verb for seeing. But this is hara is an evil eye. Do you see that? So ayin hara is an evil eye. Sounds very similar to the verb for see, but you have the silent ayin versus the silent aleph. So they sound very similar. Then you have ayin tova. Remember tova? Tov means good. Broka tov, good morning. Laila tov, good night. So here you have ayin tova, good eye. All right? So you have a good eye, but you don't want hara, an evil eye. You don't want that. All right? So there you go. There's your ayin. You could study forever on the ayin, I think. All right, so there's ayin. And here we go with the pei. Pei again is one of those with a different letter at the end. So you have a pei, and a pei sounds different too. Remember when we had the bet that can go with a V sound or a B sound? Well, the pei can go with a P sound or a F sound. And unless it has a dot in the middle, just like the bet sounds like a B if it has a dot in the middle, which is called a dagesh. So if you have a dagesh in the middle, it sounds like a B. Or if you don't, it sounds like a V. Same thing here. If you have a dot in the middle, it sounds like a P. No dot, it sounds like an F. Okay? And so this is a pei, and it's this is a P or a F if it's in the middle of a word or beginning of the word. This is a sofit at the end of the word. Okay? All right. So the letter P is the 17th letter of the alphabet. It's depicted by the mouth, and it can mean speak, blow, or the edge. I'm just making sure. Yeah, some people did one in. All right. And here it is mouth. So there's your pei and a hey. That actually means mouth. Pei and a hey means mouth. It means it's po. It means mouth. There are two forms, which I just told you about, and the numerical value is 80. And so it's quite interesting that when Moses was 80, he was given the mission to speak. And remember, Moses had this whole conversation with God, and he said, I can't speak. Remember, he kept having this conversation. He's like, you need to have Aaron speak. And God was like, well, okay, Aaron can speak, but you know, I made you this way, blah, blah, blah. And 3 times Moses and God had this conversation. But you know what's so funny? When you look at the whole Bible, who's always speaking? Moses. Very little times do you see what Aaron's talking about. Yeah, I don't know if it's just because Moses was doing the writing, that he wrote everything that he had to talk about, and he didn't write down what Aaron was talking about, or if he just ended up having to talk anyways, you know. But at 80, Moses was given the mission to speak, and sure enough, pei is the numerical value is 80. So there you go. So these are the letters that I'm introducing to you today. Michelle says Moses gained his confidence at 80. Maybe that's it. You never know. So let's go and review a few of these letters then. So we stopped at Lamed last time. Oh, okay, I don't think we talked about that. Oh, we didn't. Let's see where we stopped at. We stopped at Yud. I remember us reviewing these names last time. So we must have stopped here at the review with Yud. Remember we talked about Yaakov was Jacob, Yosef was Joseph, and Yom was day. Remember we talked about these guys reviewing the Yud. So let's review the Kaf. So the Kaf words, some words that we can go along with Kaf would be, this is, there's your pay, remember? So there's a Kaf at the beginning, and a pay in the middle, and a pay at the end. There you go. So now you get to practice with your pay. So it's kafaf, and it means bent. All right? There's your kafaf, and it means bent. There's one of the words. Now look at this word. This is kippah. Kippah. There's where your pay is as a P. Kippah. Now, does anybody know what a kippah is? If you've been to Israel with us, it's the hat that the gentlemen wear. It's a kippah. It actually means like a dome. And that's what the hat that the men wear when they have to go to the wall or when they go in any of the holy sites. It's a kippah. So there you go. There is your pay again. So it's a kaf and a yud and a pay and a hey. See, you guys are knowing these letters now. You can put them together and make more words. A kippah. And if you remember, a kaf actually means a palm. And so you put those two kafs together. A kaf at the beginning and a kaf at the end. And you have a palm. It actually means palm. And it can mean a sole of your foot as well. So it actually means the palm of your hand. You remember when we talked about, we gave you that one verse about praying and lifting up your hearts and your palms through your hands? Oh, sugar's pushing me around here. Okay, here's a Lamed review. Lamed has some beautiful words in it. Lamed, of course, itself means to learn or to teach. Lamed. A Lamed is the Lamed and the Mem and the Dalet, Lamed, and Lila. Lila means night, so you can say Lila Tov, good night, Lila Tov. So you have the Lamed, the Yud, the Lamed, and the Hey. That means Lila Tov, good night. So now you can say that. And a heart, I love the word heart, Lev. Lev. And sometimes they use two Lameds for the heart. Lev. For heart. That's a simple one. Lev. And it's used as a V there. The bet. So here's a mem review. Here's a word that you need to know for when you go to Israel. You need to know how to say water. It's ma'im. And it was funny because ma'im is, whenever you put an im at the end of the word in Israel or in Hebrew, it's plural. So I forget how it came up, but it was like everything was, water is plural. So he was like, he couldn't figure out how he would say water in singular. Because everything is, all the water there, when you say it, it's automatically plural because it's ma'im. So it's water. It's the soul of the fowl. Rennie is telling you, hi Rennie, good to see you there. Rennie has sent me many a Hebrew lesson. Rennie is here in YouTube. He's telling me it's the soul, S-O-L-E, that soul of a fowl in the movie The Ultimate Gift. So look that up. Thank you, Rennie, for sending that over here. All right. So water is mayim. And there you can see the use of the mem, which is the regular mem, the yud, and the mem sophit as well. So there you go. Now, I love this one because it's like, this makes so much sense, right? What would you say is what in Hebrew? Ma. Of course, ma, all day long. What? So there you go. There you have what in Hebrew? Ma. So there you go. It's a m, it's a mem, and a yud. Ma. Okay. What in Hebrew? And but this you need to know, because this you're going to run into again. So from is a mem and a nun. Remember the nun at the end, the nun sophit goes longer than the regular line. M, it's a mem and a nun sophit. Now, why am I telling you? You need to know this. Pay attention. From is min. Why do you need to know this? Because from is going to be a preposition. Remember how they take these letters and they put them in front of words, and then that's a whole word. They do this with this word. They'll take the min and they lose the nun. Nuns are loosey-goosey. You lose the nuns all the time. So they'll take the min, and they'll put it in front of something. And so it'll just be the mem. It'll only be the mem. So you'll see the m, the mem, in front of a word, and it means from. And the n is gone. Nuns do this all the time. I don't know why, but nuns come up missing all the time. You'll come to find this out if you continue to take Hebrew. Nuns are always coming up missing. Sometimes they turn into dageshes in words. So nuns are always, remember, that's that snake that turns into a seed. That makes sense. Okay. But nuns are always coming up missing, and they do this in this word from. They'll just put the m on top, on the front of a word, so it's a preposition, and it means from, and it's just in the front of a word. So remember that. So that's why I wanted to show you that in this word. Okay, nun. Okay, Noah. Noah actually means the word rest, and Noah, remember how I tell you they make these words easy for us Americans? Noah is actually Noach, all right? So it's actually a het at the end. And there you have it. It's a nun and a het. So it's really, in Hebrew, it's Noach. And it means rest, which would make sense, right? All right. There we go again. There's that snake, Nachash. There you go. Again, it's a het. So it's a nun and a het and a shin. We haven't got to the shin yet, but it's a nun and a het and a shin. All right. But I wanted to show you this too. This is fall, and it's a verb, and I haven't given you many verbs. So it's nefal, but I wanted to give you this verb because also nefal, as a noun, nefal is very easy because it's a nun and a pei, but it's the pei here sounds like an F, and a lamed. Nefal makes sense. It sounds like fall, right? It's an easy verb to learn. Nefal means fall, right? But as a noun, you know what this word means? It means an abortion. So I thought that would be a word that you would want to learn. So as a verb, it means fall. As a noun, it does mean abortion. So very special word there. All right, Samak. It's a horse. Sus. This is one of the words they teach us to, because it's so easy to, they teach us how, they take sus and they make it into everything. So they teach us how to make plurals out of it, and how to make it feminine, how to make it male and everything, because sus is a very easy word. Sus is a horse. It's a Samak, a Vav, and a Samak. Sus. So there you go. Sus is a horse. All right. Remember, in the fall, we're going to have the Feast of Tabernacles. And where do we go in the Feast of Tabernacles? We go to our booths. Well, here's a sukkah. Okay, this sukkot. Oh, I'm tired. Rennie is saying yes. Psalms 119 ends in the value of horses. Oh, cool. All right. Sukkot. Okay. Oh, I can't even say it anymore. I'm so tired. So I'm so sorry. Sukkot. There we go. Sukkot. So there you go. There's your boot. And then sugar. It's good to know if you're in Israel and you want some sugar for your coffee. Believe me. So it's sucrose. So there you go. And sugar down here is driving me crazy. She's making all kinds of racket. So it's sucrose. So there you go. So there's sugar. And then you had the ayin review. Now remember we said ayin means eye. And the interesting thing, when you go to the story of Tamar and Judah, when you go to that story, if you remember that story, so Tamar and Judah, Tamar needs to have an heir, and Judah doesn't allow her to marry the youngest son after Tamar's husbands died, which are his sons. And so he doesn't allow her to have the youngest son, which that's supposed to be what happens. So she ends up playing the part of a harlot and sleeps with Judah. And so she keeps his 3 pieces. She keeps his staff. She keeps, is it like a belt? She keeps 3 pieces of his clothing. His staff, I think a belt, and something else. 3 pieces of his clothing. And so, of course, in 3 months, she ends up showing that she's pregnant. And so she's his daughter-in-law that he won't allow to marry to his son. And so they bring it to Judah, and they're like, oh, what are you going to do? Your daughter-in-law is pregnant, and she's obviously been with a man, and blah, 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 blah. And do you know what the punishment is? That she should be burned with fire. Well, do you know that is that you're supposed to take this woman, hold her mouth open while you pour molten lead down her mouth. That is what that means, burned with fire. And he says, well, bring her out here. And so they bring her out here, but then, of course, she has his signet. That's what it was. His signet, his staff, and I think it was like a belt or something. And when she shows it to him, he says, well, you are more just than I. And so, but guess where this all happened? Guess where this took place? It took place in Ayonim, the city of Ayonim. What does that mean? The city of eyes. It's plural for the word eyes. Ayonim. How ironic is that? Ayonim, the city of eyes. Interesting, huh? So there you go. Another thing you'll know if you know Hebrew. Otherwise, you just think that's the name of a city. But when you know Hebrew, you'll know what that means. So there you go. All right. So, afar, dust. We're made of the dust of the earth. Afar. And etz. Etz is a tree. Etz. All right. All right. There you go. For ayin. Okay. Pay. Pay. Some words that you get from pay. Pay means a mouth, right? Pay means mouth. So remember we talked about that po. Po. And par, butterfly. So those are reshes. We haven't found the resh yet either. We'll get those next next time. I think we'll just about be done because we're on 17 and there's 22. So we should finish up the alphabet by next time. So butterfly. So that's the end of the review. So we're going to go ahead and open it up for questions now. I think we got everything covered. So if you guys have any questions now, I'll open that up. So anybody have any questions? You guys were asking about next classes. So Pastor and I were talking this morning, and I think we're going to take a 3-week break in between here and then start the next classes. So if that makes any more sense, we'll be able to give you a better date. But we'll keep it on Wednesdays and an hour long. So, but we'll take a 3-week break in between here and the next one. Does that make sense for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So this city of eyes,
Mm-hmm.
the Ions,
Mm-hmm.
this is the place where they put lead down people's throat.
Oh, they did that everywhere. But the city is where this took place, that Tamar and Judah had their rendezvous.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
a city of throats that with lead in them. The city of eyes.
The city of eyes is where, yeah, it was where the rendezvous took place. But that was the punishment. When they mean burned, when they say they will take her out and burn, that was the punishment. So that, you know, the Old Testament is full of not so nice things, especially to women. So, yeah.
And then the other thing you said about the Nephilim, or that's what I thought of when you said the
Nephal.
the
Nephal. Yeah, that's just a verb. It really doesn't have anything to do with Nephilim, but.
Made me think of that.
Mm-hmm.
Nephal. What did Nephal mean again?
Fall. It's just a
To
verb.
fall.
Yeah, it's a verb
Like
that
the
means
fall
fall.
of mankind
Mm-hmm.
had to do with the seed, right?
Yeah,
Or
the seed is with the noon. Yeah. That letter noon.
you know what I just thought of?
What?
When Adam and Eve fell, they were eating of a fruit that had seed.
Probably. I mean, I don't think that we know that for sure, but it's a probable.
I just thought of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a seed
class,
war.
Heidi. Very good.
Yeah.
I had something to say about mine the water. I mean, that is astounding, because I know I have some music, and one of the songs is Mayim Chaim, which is living water.
Mm-hmm.
And it's awesome, so awesome. And then I go, and I know that Shamayim. I heard something today about water from heaven or something. You know,
Shamayim is heavens. Yes.
it's amazing.
The waters above.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that about it being plural.
Yes.
That it's not singular.
Yep.
For water, because water, if you look at water in a driplet, you know, coming out of the faucet, it looks like one stream, but it's actually, they've slowed it down, and you can see video of a time lapse or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and it's little droplets.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, you know,
Mm-hmm.
lots of droplets make water.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And we're made up mostly of water.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Out of your belly shall flow rivers of living water.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
I'm going to have to take notes next time. Because as you're talking, I'm like, wow.
I know. You learn so much more when you know the Hebrew behind it. It brings a lot of these stories alive.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. It really is. Yeah.
Thank you. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I'm just excited to hear what Pastor is going to have to say about what he and Mike are talking about too.
Oh, he's got a meeting.
Yeah, he's taping right now with Mike from for the webinar. Mm-hmm.
For the alien thing?
Yeah, for the webinar over the weekend, they're taping right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get the DVD.
Yeah. Yeah. Be interesting.
I haven't watched Netflix in a long time, but there was something on there that made me think of super soldiers and well, I don't want to get off on something left field, but made me wonder if they would consider that aliens. Like, the aliens are here when really they've done something with super soldiers.
I saw that advertised.
There were wounds or healing.
I saw that advertised. I think they're advertising it as the #1 show right now. These soldiers that can't be killed or whatever.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All that's based on stuff they've either thought of already and have, or they're in progress of making it.
Mm-hmm.
Way far ahead of what we're ready for.
Right. So, yeah.
Come, Lord Jesus.
Yeah. All right. People are saying hello over here at YouTube too. So, all right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up then if you guys have any more questions. It's good to talk with you guys though.
You too. Hi, everybody on YouTube.
Thank you. Have to do a lot of studying.
Yeah.
Practice those letters.
Yep. I have 2 more weeks for my finals, so you guys help me out here.
2 weeks till your finals. We'll be praying for you.
All right. I need it. Thank you. All right. God bless you all.
God bless you too.
Okay.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. If I could figure out how to shut this off.
Give us a what? Are you serious?
Are you serious? I'm not so good with Paul like that. Oh. All right. Till next week. Converting me. All right. See you guys over here. God bless.